So if I see here, local host 8080 / Spring REST demo 1 / student. So you got this data, right? So how you got this data? Let me explain. So this is the URL you type, right? Now, so this is going to where? So this is going to dispatcher servlet internally. And finally, this URL pattern is matching to this part, right? This URL pattern is matching to this part. Right? Right? So this is the, now what this is doing, this is creating a student object, setting the properties of the student and returning the student object back. Now when it is returning back, right? When it is returning back, now you have set up for some Jackson libraries here, right? You have set up a Jackson library here, right? You have set up a Jackson library. Okay. Now your this annotation driven, okay, this whatever this flow is there, right? This one, what it will do, you know? So this will be triggered by your dispatcher servlet only, okay? This will be triggered by your dispatcher servlet. What this annotation driven will do, you know? This will use these Jackson libraries and convert the student object. So we call this as a converter, okay? Okay, so we can say like this. Let me do like this. So there will be a converter here. And who runs this converter? This converter is driven by this this annotation driven. Okay, this annotation driven. So this connotation. So this converter is driven by this annotation driven, which uses this Jackson library. And what this converter will do is, okay, see this annotation driven, this will be driver for converter. Okay, where the converter will take the student object. So this takes student object as input. This is a student object which is in Java, right? This takes student object as input and converts to JSON string. And converts to JSON string. And how this will convert to JSON string, you know? Now this converter, what it will do, you know? It will call the getter methods, of student object. It will call the getter methods of student object, right? It will call the getter methods of student object and get the JSON string. That means it will call the getter methods. So these are your setter methods where you pass the values. What getter methods will do? it will get the values from this. So that means it is like this. So if I draw here separately, Java object to JSON. How it will do? It will now take the student object here. It will take the student object and to the. It will take the student object and convert to the JSON string. It will take the Java object, it will take the student object and convert to JSON string. So how it will convert? So you see now, what is your student object? Your student object is this one. Your student object contains the properties, student ID, student ID as S100, student name as Pradeep, right? Next is student address. So Hyderabad, right? Now what this will do, you know, Java object to JSON converter, what it will do, you know, it will call the getter methods on these properties. So the converter will call the getter methods. These are public methods, right? Getter methods are your public. On the properties, get the values and create a JSON. And how it creates a JSON string is, I'll tell you. Now how you got the JSON string? This is your JSON string, right? So this is your JSON string. So this is your JSON string, right? You know, I can format this JSON string. See, you got like this, but if you want to understand more clearly, you can actually take this JSON string. There are some online editors out there. If you go to Google link, JSON lint is there. Okay, there is actually a where it will format the JSON string. Suppose you have like this, right? I copy paste here, validate JSON. So you got like this, you know, in presentation in a proper format so that you can read it. Earlier you have like this, right? Okay, this is a simple one, you can read it. But I want in a proper indentation, proper format. So click on validate JSON. See, you got it like this. Okay, this is a proper structure. I mean, a proper format, you can understand. Right. Now you see, this is your JSON string. Okay. Always a JSON string. Okay, you can also call this as a JSON object also. JSON string or JSON object. Now, if you see this is a JSON string or JSON object. So JSON string or JSON object always starts with brace and ends with brace. Right? If you see here, so JSON string or JSON object always starts with a brace and ends with a brace. That means starts with a brace, ends with a brace. Okay. So in between the braces, in between the start brace and end brace. Now it will have data which has keys and values. Okay. In between the start brace and end brace, it will be having a data associated with keys and values. Okay. All keys and values are separated. Values are separated by column. By column. Okay. Keys and values are separated by column. That means this is the column. Now, and always keys are strings. Always keys are strings. So they are in double quotes. Okay. Values can be strings, numbers, okay, Boolean. Okay. Or it can be again another JSON object. Okay, or a JSON array. I'll tell you what is this JSON array. So values can be anything, but keys are always strings. So okay, see, this is a key, which is a string. Now this is a key, which is a string. This is a key, which is a string. And we can say like this, key and value, we can say. Key and value are separated by this. Key and value are separated by this, but each key value pair is separated by commas. Each key value pair is separated by commas. Each key value pair is separated by commas. Now you see, this is one key value pair. This is one key value pair, which is separated by comma. This is one comma, this is one comma, this is. Okay, this is one key value pair. Now you have key colon value, key colon value, key colon value. Okay. And now the keys are always strings. These are keys. Okay, these are keys. These are keys. And these are values. These are values. Okay. Keys are always strings. Okay, values can be anything. Now it can be string or it can be integer or anything, but in this example, their values are also strings only. Now, if you see here, this is one key. Okay. If I draw again here separately. Okay. Now, if you see here, this is the key. And for this key, this is the value. For student ID key, value is S100. For student name key, Pradeep is the value. For student address key, Hyderabad is the value. Now, you know, when Java object is converted to JSON, or how Java and JSON are related is, how Java object is mapped to JSON is, Java object mapped to JSON or JSON mapped to Java object. You know how that will done? I'll tell you. Now you see. I'll just tell you. So we'll see now how Java object mapped to JSON, JSON mapped to Java object. Now, what is your Java object? What is your Java class? This is your Java class, right? This is your Java class, right? And you have the corresponding public setter and getter methods, right? Now you see. Now, so this this is a class. This is a class. Now this class, from this class, we can create an object, right? So we can create a student object. So from this class, we can create a student object. How will create? How will create? When I say student std equal to new student, right? So this is the object, right? So this is your student object, and so this is your student object now. Now, when the student object now is converted to JSON, so student object will be converted to JSON. Or let me do this. Okay. Now let me add some property values. Std dot set student ID of S100. Next, std dot set student name of Pradeep. Right? Std dot set student address of Hyderabad. Right? Like this. Suppose I have like this now. Now, when this object is converted to JSON now you know always JSON object starts with brace and ends with braces, right? This is the compulsory, right? Now, the property names are your keys. Student ID, whatever your property names are there, you know, this property name should be your key in the JSON. Similarly, this property name of this should be your JSON as key. Student name. Next, this property name should be your another key. Right? Now, for this key, what is the value? It is a string type, right? The value is a string type. So now I'll say now column, whatever the value that I set here, whatever that value I set here, that will be the value. It is a string type. Yes, 100, comma, right? Student name will be Pradeep. Right? And then student address will be Hyderabad. So this is your this is how this will map. Okay, your property names are your keys, and the values will be the value set in these properties. Okay, so the JSON keys are the property names of the class. So property names of the class, and JSON values are the, values are the, or we can say like this, keys in the JSON object. Keys in JSON are the property names of the class. Values are the values set in the properties of Java object. Right? So always keys should be string, but the values can differ. So the values can differ. It can be string or integer. Suppose I have like this. Suppose I have like this public class employee, right? Public class employee. I'll say private. I'll say int employee ID. I'll say private string employee name. I'll say private string employee. I'll say private double employee salary. Right? I have like this. And for corresponding this, I'll have now public getter and setter methods. Right? Now, for this class employee, there will be an object created, which is employee object. How it will be getting created? How it will be getting created? I'll just say like employee emp equal to new employee, right? And then I'll say emp dot set employee ID of, it is an integer, right? I'll put only integer number. I'll not put in double quote. Set emp name of Raju. I'll say emp dot set emp salary. I'll just put some 10,000 rupees. Okay. So this is your double value. This is your string value, and this is your employee. Right? Now, what is the corresponding JSON string for this? Always it starts with a brace and ends with a brace. So now the key names will be EMPID. Now the value not a string, it is an integer value. See, whatever the property name is there, that will be your key name. Now it is not in, the value can be string or integer or any data type. Now here it is an integer data type. Now it is not enclosed in double quotes. See, there is no double quotes for this because it is an integer. Next, I'll say EMP name. Keys are always strings, okay? EMP name. Now I'll say Raju. This is a string, so this will be in double quotes. Next, I'll say employee salary. This I'll say some 10,000 rupees. That's all. So this is your number. This is your number. So this is your string. So it starts with brace and ends with brace. Now this object now, if you see here these values, see that's why I told you. Keys in JSONs are always strings. Always keys are strings, but values can be strings, numbers, Boolean. It can be another JSON object or another JSON error. I'll tell you what is this. Unlike this. Okay, now this is integer. So that's why there is no double quotes. So the value is integer. There is no double quotes. There is no double quotes. Similarly, here also the value is a double, so there is no double quotes. Double, so no double quotes. Okay. Now we'll see some more another example. Okay. Now I have everyone clear? Whatever I told till now? Told it till now. Everyone clear? Any doubts here? All right. Now I'm going to tell you another example. Let us take like this. I'll say class employee. Now I'll say now 100 not considered as value. Why? Why 100 is not considered as value? It is an integer value, right? This is the key. This is the value. This is an integer data type, right? Value can be integer or string, okay? Or anything, any data type. Now we're going to see some more examples. Now I'll say employee ID. Now I'll say private string employee name. Now I'll say private double employee salary. Now I'll say private department. Right? I have now corresponding public setter and getter methods. Right? I have like this. Right? Now if you see, this is an integer, this is a string, this is a double, but this is again another property with department. That means I'll have one more class with department. This is what we call has a association, right? Has a relationship. Employee is having department. Now I'll say private int into department ID, right? And then I'll say private string department name, right? And I'll have public setter and getter methods. Right? Now I'll have like this now. Now, how to write a JSON for this? First, how will you create a Java object for this? I'll create like this, right? First, I'll say employee. Employee is equal to new employee. Next, employee dot set emp ID of say some 100. Employee dot set emp name of Raju. Employee dot set emp salary of some 20,000. Right? Now I have to create a department also, right? To set this. So department equal to new department. Raju belongs to this department. right? Department dot set department ID of it is an integer, right? So I'll give one. Department dot set department name of IT department, right? So this is a department. Then what I'll do, I'll just say employee dot set department of department, right? You see here. So for these properties, I set the values. Next, I created a department object. So with the department ID, this one. So these values are set. Now I want to set this now. Okay, I want to set this now. I'll be setting in the employee object. Any doubts here in this? This is a plain core Java exercise. Any doubts here? Any doubts here? What I'm doing, I'm setting the properties of employee ID, employee name, employee salary. Next, I'm creating a department object, setting department ID, department name. Now I'm associating this department with the employee with this property, employee dot department of. I'm passing this department object reference here. This one. Any doubts here? No, right? This is a plain core Java. So in this way, now I am associating employee object with the department object. That means employee Raju belongs to IT department. The meaning of this is employee is associated with IT department. Any doubts here? Any questions here? This is a normal core Java problem. Any doubts? I want responses. Everyone should respond for this. Everyone should respond for this. Any questions on this? Come on, what about others? Only I'm seeing only 3 or 4 responses every time. Only from 3 or 4 people only they are responding. What about others? Right. Right. Okay. This is a very, very important. Okay. Now, fine. Now, when this is converted to JSON now, when this is converted to JSON now, always know for employee JSON always starts with brace and ends with brace. Starts with brace and ends with brace. Right? Your employee always starts with brace and ends with brace. Now, first, what is key? Employee ID. What is the integer? What is the value for this? It is an integer data type. So 100. Just see this. The property is employee ID. So this will be your key. And what is the value? It is an integer. So I'm setting 100. Right. Now, next, employee name. What is this? Raju. Right. Next, employee salary. What is this? 20,000. Fine. Next, what is the next property? Employee ID fine, employee name fine, employee salary. All these values are given. What is the next property? Department. Department. Right. Now, what is the department type? What is the department type? Both are considered value only. Only the data type is different. That's all. Okay. So what is the department type? This property type, what is the department type? It is a class. It is again another class. It is again another class. These properties are simple integers. So that's why you're able to put the integer value, string value, double value. But for this, the value is again another class type. Another class type. That means this class type. That means this will be again another JSON. That means this value will be again another JSON object, which starts with a brace, again ends with a brace. Now in this, you will have the department related data. That is department ID, which is your one. Next is a department name. Department name, IT department. Right? That's all. Now you see, now this is your employee JSON. This is your employee JSON. Now what it contains, if you see here, this contains employee ID, employee name. This employee ID is a simple integer value. This employee name is a string value. Your employee salary is a double value. Now department is again another class. So that means it contains another class, means it's again it is another JSON object. Another class means another JSON object. Okay, that means which starts with brace. Always JSON object starts with brace and ends with brace. Now this is a value now. So this value is a JSON object now. Now this contains now your department related values. That is your department ID. That is this key. This department ID is this one. What is the value? 1. Next, this contains department name. This is the key. Again, the properties present in this JSON. I mean, the key is present in this JSON or the property names here. And what is the value? IT department. And this will be a comma. See, this is called nested JSON. This is one JSON. Under JSON, there is another JSON. Now you see, this employee ID is an integer value. This is a string value. This is a double value. This is again another JSON object value. For this key, see, keys are always strings. Keys are always strings, but the values are different data types. Okay, this is your integer data type, string data type, double data type, and a JSON data type. Any doubts here? Any questions? So why this is a JSON? Because the department key, this properties of another class type, another class. So another class means it is again another JSON. You can think like one class is one JSON. This is your employee class. This employee class is one JSON. Again, employee class contains department. So department is again JSON. You can think like that. This employee class, complete employee class is one JSON, which starts with the brace and ends with the brace. Now this employee class, if you see here, it contains a department. Now it will be another JSON now. Any doubts here? So we'll see one more example. how they are getting the private variable name. It is not possible to access private variable outside of the class. It is not accessible to accessible. They are calling the getter methods, right? We have public setter and getter method, right? They can call the getter method, right? They're calling the getter method. From getter method, they can get the property names. They're using reflection. Internally, they use reflection. Okay, they use reflection. They use reflection. Right? So from the getter method, so what they do is, see, they know the object, right? See, how many of you know Java reflection? So Java reflect, using Java reflection, if we know the object and class, we can get the property names of that class, right? If we know the class and object, we can get the property names. For the property names, they can call the getter methods and get the values. Right? So use reflection. So what they do, from class, they get property names. Right? From names, using getter methods, they get values are obtained. Right? Right. Now we'll see one more scenario. I have actually class I have a college. Okay. I have a college ID. Right. College name. Right. And I have list. This college is located in different branches in different cities. So I'll say string of cities. Now we have public setter and getter methods. Right? College ID. Right? College name. Cities. So this college is located in different cities. How can I create an object of this? I can say college equal to new college. I can say college dot set college ID. I'll give some C100. College dot set college name. I'll say some ABC college. Right? And now this college is located in multiple cities. Okay, it is located as a branches. One branch is in Hyderabad, one branch is in Bangalore. So how I'll do is I'll say list of string cities is equal to arrays dot as list of Hyderabad, Bangalore. Okay. and I'll say college dot set cities of cities. Okay. This is what I do. So my college is located in these cities. Now, how will convert? Now, how this will be JSON structure? How it will be represented now? Now again, this entire college is one JSON. So it starts with a brace and ends with a brace. Right? Right. Now, what is the first one? What is the first one now? College ID. Right? What is a key? C100. Next, what is college name? You will know ABC College. Right? Okay. Right? And then okay, both are strings, but cities, another one is there, right? Cities is there. Now cities. See, both are strings. So this property name is matching with this. So this is a string. So I'm putting in a string. So this is a college name. This is a string. So this is also a string. Now cities, it is a list of strings. That means an array. List means collection, right? So in a JSON, always the collection or array starts with square brackets. Square brackets. Okay, the value is a, we call this as a JSON array. Okay, and we call this as Hyderabad, comma Bangalore. Okay. Now you see here, this is what we call JSON array. Here, this is called JSON array. JSON array starts with square brackets and ends with square bracket. So JSON array starts with square bracket and ends with square bracket. Now this array contains strings. This is one string, this is another string. So now if you see, the value here is a string type. Here the value is a string type. Here the value is a JSON array type. So this value is JSON array type. That means in your if you're near Java, if you have the property type as a list or an array or okay set, in JSON it will be represented as an array. Okay, in your Java, if you have list or any collection data type, so here it will be represented as an array. And JSON array always starts with a square bracket and ends with a square bracket. Any doubt? Questions? Everyone clear? Whatever the examples that we are seeing now? All right then. Okay then. So tomorrow, Monday we are going to continue this. Okay then. Okay. Okay. Thank you all. So Monday we are going to see. Any doubts? Any questions? Okay, then. So tomorrow I'm going to, Monday I'm going to continue the remaining. Okay. Now everyone understood, right? What is this JSON array, JSON object? JSON